In this video, we're going to talk about how to access a specific book through Ingram Library, including covering the University System Catalog, the service Gill Express, and the service Interlibrary Loan. The best way to demonstrate this is to just run through a couple examples. So we're going to start by looking for the Tina Fey book, Bossy Pants. Since we're looking for a book, we're going to go straight into our book tab. And by default, you're going to start by searching the UWG Library Catalog because that's the quickest, cheapest, easiest way to get it to you. So if we have it, we'd love to get it to you through that way. So we are going to search for Bossy Pants, and it searches the 500,000 items in our physical library. And in this case, we do have this particular item. It gives me all the information I need to go track it down in our stacks. We have it available in the library stacks. Its call number is PN2287, and that's between J through Z, so it'll be up on our third floor. Alright, let's go try another one. So this time, I'm going to look for the book, The Science of Star Wars. Again, it's a book, so I'm going to start in our Books tab. And I will just search for Science of Star Wars. Oops, that's not how you spell Star Wars. Spelling actually does really matter. Our catalog is not that forgiving. But when I search Science of Star Wars, I get 75 different results. And all of these results have the word Science of Star and Wars somewhere in the record. They may or may not be this particular item that I'm looking for. I don't really want to sort through 71 different results, so I'm going to do a little trick, which is if I have the exact title and I know it's correct of my book, I can actually put that title in quotes and just do a search. And in this case, it tells me that there is no record at all. There's no book or anything that has the exact four-word sequence Science of Star Wars in it. So we don't own this particular book. It doesn't mean we don't have access to it. It just means we don't have it in our physical building. So what I can do is I can then come up to this drop-down menu and choose the University System of Georgia. Again, we want you to search the UWG first, but if we don't have it, you actually as a UWG student have access to all 35 libraries in the USG system. So Georgia Tech, Valdosta State, KSU, UGA, all of them. And you can take your library card and check out books from there, just like you were a student at one of those schools, or you can request that books from those schools be sent here. So we're going to check and see if any library in the USG system owns them, and we do see two different versions. So this is where it's helpful to have a full citation so you know exactly who the author is or what the publication information is so you can track down the right book. But we'll say we want this one up here. In which case, just like before where we clicked on how to access it right underneath the publication information, we're going to check holdings. And it says, your search did not match any physical resources in Ingram Library. In order to receive options to request the resource from other libraries, please sign in. And there's a helpful little sign in thing right there. So we're going to go ahead and sign in. And we're going to sign in as a faculty member. And when I do that, it brings me back to that. And it says, consult the list under more USG libraries below to borrow this item. So we have 3 different libraries under here. I could choose whichever library I want. I'll go ahead and choose the first one. And normally I would cut this out, but I think it's important to say just how long this process takes. We're aware that it's kind of looks like it's failing, but it's not. It's actually working, and eventually if you wait 20-30 seconds, it will come up. But yeah, it does just sort of show blank up there for a while. We've complained about it, and hopefully the tech people are working on it. But for right now, it does take a while for these options to show up. If you have a copy available, which we do, we have 2 copies available, you just click on the little request button. And then it says deliver to UWG Ingram Library, and you say sure, request. And I'll go ahead and do that. Go ahead and do that just so you can see what it looks like. And it says request place, and there's nobody in line ahead of me, so they'll send it to me. Gill Express request take about 2 to 3 days. If I didn't want to send it to me, I could have actually chosen a different library. So if you're a distance ed student who lives near another University System of Georgia university, you could actually send it to Georgia Tech or Georgia State or North Georgia College and pick it up from their libraries, just like you picked it up from ours. If no copies were available or you tried to request it and the request failed, you do have the option to request via interlibrary loan and we'll mail it. But that's really only a secondary choice after it's cheaper and easier and a whole lot faster to use the Gill Express system down here. Once you've placed the request, you can click on your name up here and go to My Requests to view your requests, and as you can see, it takes a little while for the new ones to show up, but eventually it'll be there. So we'll try one more search just while we're at it. We'll go back to the library homepage. And this time I'm going to look for the book, The Science of Star Trek. So again, I do book tab, I search for, and we know that's the exact title, so I'm just going to use Science of Star Trek. By default, we want to see if it's in our local catalog. That's the quickest and easiest to get. We don't have it here. Do we have it in the University System of Georgia? We don't have it there. That doesn't mean we can't get it, it just means we can't request it via Gill Express. So what we're actually going to do is go back to the library homepage, and under services we have resource sharing, which is how we share materials between different libraries. And you can see that we have a service called Interlibrary Loan for students, where you can request things that either Ingram Library or USG libraries own that you don't own that you need. You can request via Interlibrary Loan. And to do so, unfortunately it's its own system again, so if you've never used it before, you click First Time User, but if you have used it before, you'll have an Iliad account already created, and you just click on that and fill out the form for books. The other nice thing that we have is for online students, for our distance ed students, if we have an item physically here in the library and you need it and you can't get to campus, we actually have services that will mail that item to you. So for instance, if you lived in the middle of Mississippi and you needed Bossy Pants, you could use our distance learning services to request that item be mailed to you. And if we don't own that particular item, we'll request it from another library and send it to you as well. Our resource sharing group is absolutely fantastic. Most Gill Express requests will take 2 to 3 days. If they have to physically mail it to you or do an interlibrary loan for a book, again, because they have to physically send it through the postage system, that can take anywhere between 1 and 2 weeks. So we do recommend starting your research early. Again, if you want a particular item from our library, a particular book, from the library homepage, you go to the Books tab, you search the title in the UWG Catalog, then in the USG Catalog, and then you go to Services, Resource Sharing, and request that that item be sent to you.